Intrada Masterclass of 2023, and it is December 19th, 2023 Pacific time. I actually am not in Pacific time. I'm in Australia, so that will become evident in just a moment. Even more evident in just a moment, besides my different background that I don't normally have. So I will, without further ado, let me get started, and I'm going to just offer an acknowledgement to start off with first, and that where I work, live and play is in the lands and waterways of New South Wales, and I acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as Australia's first people and traditional custodians, and pay my respect to elders past, present and emerging, and recognise their ongoing teaching of knowledge, songlines and stories. As you could hear from that acknowledgement, I am not in my native home or my regular home. My native home is actually Australia, but in my regular home of Canada. And let me just start sharing my, I'm just going to share my slides here for you, and bring these up, and hopefully I'll get a thumbs up that I am sharing properly. And let's just see. Sorry, I'm in a slightly different environment this time. So welcome everyone again officially to the Intrada Membership Masterclass, Meaningful Work to Get Unstuck. And so welcome to those who are here in the room with me live. Wonderful to see you. Thank you for investing this time. Or perhaps you're tuning in live from my Facebook or from YouTube live. So all catching the replay. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll be together for 45 minutes today, a little bit longer than we normally are. And there's a lot to still get through even in the 45 minutes. So let's get started. And I've already made the acknowledgement here. A little bit of housekeeping for those of you who haven't been with me before. There is for my members, we have the session guide and PowerPoint that will be in the Intrada portal. And for those who are here in the room with me, the platform is AirMeet, which is maybe a bit different for some people if you haven't had it before. So the Q&A section is a panel on the right of your screen as you're looking at it. So you can pop any questions there and then I'll gather those, and I'll do my best to answer them within the 45 minutes. But if I don't get time, I'll stay on, record it, and if you can't stay with me live, you will be able to catch the replay, and I'll make sure I capture that. And then, as I mentioned, I'm live on YouTube and Facebook. So hello, YouTube and Facebook land. And if you'd like to like, follow, share, all of those wonderful things to keep up the energy for me doing this, and that it's still useful for you, I hope. Also, I'll invite you to grab a pen, paper, tablet, phone, whatever your method is to record. I hope there'll be at least one insight, if not more. I'm going to offer some questions and some prompts to be able to percolate some ideas for you about how you can get unstuck in your career, or maybe you just need to do a shift or a nudge, whatever that is for you. But hopefully something will spark a little bit of ideas for you, creativity, and you'll be able to do some shifting, or maybe there'll be something that might come afterwards, but just something to capture that for you in the moment and reflect on for later. Let me start, as I normally do, with a quote here, and it's from Viktor Frankl. I'm not sure if people are familiar with Viktor Frankl, but he was a famous Austrian psychiatrist who tragically lost all of his family and a lot of friends and peers, and in the Holocaust and was in Auschwitz, but not only survived, but thrived and went on to write the book Man's Search for Meaning. So this is a slightly tweaked quote of his. I've just adjusted the pronouns in light of the environment that we're in now to be more sensitive for pronouns. And so the quote here is, what a person actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of them. And to me, Viktor Frankl is the father of and a big inspiration of meaning in life, not just career. But I'm just going to leave this quote with you now, allow it to set the pace for what we're doing together today. And I'll come back to that quote later, but I'm hoping that's planting a seed for you in regards to meaningful work. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rachel Newton. I'm an integrative career coach. I'm usually based in Vancouver, Canada, but until February, I came down to Australia to surprise my family here for the holidays. And so I'll be working remotely here until February. And so right now I'm based on the beautiful central coast of New South Wales in Australia, but usually I'm in Vancouver, Canada. And during the time since 2011, when I started Life Career Studio, I've helped hundreds of clients and developed my Entrada method as one of those ways to help clients be able to discover meaningful work and find their career superpowers. And so I'm hoping that what I'm offering here will also be helpful and supportive for you to that end. So let me start off with, as I normally do, a case study of a woman who is in her 30s and a manager in the tech industry. But at that time, when she was finding herself miserable in her career and very much as a crossroads, should she stay or go, stay in the same industry, and something needed to change because there was a lot of burnout and stress, and there was no fulfillment or joy left in her career, and so felt very lost, much like this was my dog Zuzu, who is here in the forests of North Vancouver. And so that kind of lost looking feeling. And so that was how she started. But then in working with a career coach for 6 months, was then able to see some possibility of horizons. And after what she called wandering the vocational desert for over 2 decades, through this self-discovery and this time with a career coach, found what she called the gift within the suffering, and taking her career misery then to help others later on. And the image here of the horizons of possibilities, helping her to rediscover her self-confidence and ability to be unapologetically herself, and then to be able to work her dream and do fulfilling work to give back to the community by helping in a whole different way than she had ever considered before. And then her career superpower was to be a meaningful work Sherpa, and using the word Sherpa very deliberately, as usually it's one of the guides in the Himalayas who help people, scale mountains like Everest and those treacherous places. But this is a metaphor in the Sherpa here. And perhaps some of you that know me might have recognized that story. I've switched it up this time, and that is actually my story. So I was just sharing with you in a little bit more detail about what my journey was, going from being miserable in my career, and then through working with my own career coach, Gail, who has since retired. But Gail then helped me discover that this is the work that I wanted to do. And then a lot of the work that I've done since is me being patient zero of what I'm offering my clients, and the activities and support that I do with them. And so my hope is that I can help you now as a coach and expert thought partner, enabling you to be able to tap into your own wisdom and your own expertise. I'm the career expert, yes, but you're the expert in your life and career. So let's see what we can do to help you find your career superpower. And we're going to do that by discovering the ABCs that I started earlier this year, and hopefully that will help you discover your career superpower to work your dream. And I'm just offering you some seeds and starting you off with some fundamentals that I have noticed have been the primary aspects of clients who have been able to make a successful career transformation with me walking alongside them. So my hope is something here will inspire and help you as well. Today, as I mentioned, we're talking about meaningful work to get unstuck. I'm going to quickly run through our agenda for today, and we're going to set an intention. I'll do a very quick review of Career DNA, meaningful work, and work here is in caps because it's an acronym and drives my husband nuts, but I like acronyms, and I'm not alone. So I'm going to take you through the meaningful work framework here, and then offer you a December growth challenge and a couple of little logistics at the end going into 2024 as well. So let's move into our intention, and I'm going to give you a couple of minutes here with this beautiful section of a piece of art that I was able to buy for myself a year ago from a friend and artist, Dave Kulchak, and his website is there. It's beautiful work, and this is a very meaningful piece to me. I'll speak more about that later when we go more into meaning, but I just invite you to use this as a prompt, and I'm going to be quiet for just a minute or so to allow you to set an intention for what you would like and what you want out of investing this time. And so with that time and the time that you've invested here, what would you like to do here? And so I'll just give you a moment to do that. So I know that wasn't a long time, and if you're watching the replay, maybe you want to pause it. You're welcome to. And now just hopefully you put something down in terms of that. And let's go to your career DNA now and a quick review of that. There is more information about this in an earlier masterclass on my website or on my YouTube channel for those of you who would like to know more. But very quickly, career DNA is as unique to you as your own DNA. And these are the building blocks of what it helps you to have a meaningful career and for you to feel fulfilled in your career. And so there's three aspects to this, and that is energy, recognized and known talents. And these recognized and known talents are talents that you enjoy doing and that give you energy. And as I said, there's I go into a lot more details and spend a whole session of this. But this is just quickly just reminding you of what we're focusing on here today, and the formula of energy and talents to help you give your career superpower. And so that's what we're basing this on, and we've been building up, and hopefully something here will inspire that for you. So this month we're talking about the next pieces of code, or the from the ABCs of the fundamentals of P, Q, and R. So pace, question, and rhythm to be able to help you explore what you need to tap into your career superpower and ultimately take care of your career destiny. So the pieces of code this month are pace, question, and rhythm to help you work your dream. So looking at this, as we start to talk about meaningful work, first of all, I'm not giving you the answers here. I'm deliberately just asking you the questions because I know you know the answers. My clients often will think they don't know the answers and ask me for the answers, which I will not give them. I will guide them, but I won't give it to them. So first of all, how do you define meaning? And how do you define work or career? So taking those two definitions and then bringing them together to have your definition of meaningful work. And then once you have that definition of meaningful work that is going to be very personal to you, is there a look, a sound, a feeling? What is being evoked for you when you think of meaningful work? There's some words here that are up on this prompt, but you may have more words, you may have different words. You may not have all of these words, but what does that meaningful work mean to you? How do you define that? So earlier I talked about the what I put up for the intention slide, and it was a picture of, it was a snapshot of a bigger picture of what Dave Korolchuk had done in terms of art, of a piece of art that he had done. And the reason that that was a meaningful piece to me is because it was an image of a scene that I saw over 5 years of going and studying my medical Qigong that I did at Stanley Park in Vancouver. And that was like an image that I saw all the time, and he had just captured it so beautifully in that very artistic way. So it had a lot of extra significance and meaning to me, which is why I wanted to have that painting. And so then thinking about that as a prompt, there may be something for you in terms of what is meaningful to you and then meaningful work to you. So let's have a look at the breaking down the pieces of code here for what we're talking about today. And the first piece of code in here is pace. And what I'm talking about in terms of pace is, as you can see by the images here, there's different levels of pace. We could be slow. I'm being slow and sleepy like a koala because I'm in Australia. I thought that was appropriate. Or slow like a snail, and there's a little snail on that mushroom there. And or there could be a playful pace, like these children on the swings as an example. Or in the far end, there's the fast pace of cars and traffic, and that makes me think of city pace. So in terms of thinking about what is your pace that would best support you to be as productive as possible, and as you pursue what meaningful work or a meaningful career could be for you. And again, that pace is going to be different for each person. And in one day, it could be different. In a month, a quarter, a year, there could be seasons of our lives when our pace will be different. Likely our pace may be very different to when we were playful as kids, and different to how we are as an adult, as an example. Or there might be times when we need to slow our pace down. So using that concept of pace to temper and work out what we need in that time. So that's what I put there as the pace here. And then question. Here is like asking questions and having a curiosity and personal inquiry, and then not just asking the questions, but also what questions are you asking? What questions you are not asking? And then sometimes the answers will come to you. Sometimes it'll take a long time for them to come to you, or other people might help you answer those questions. But through that deeper reflection, that can become a compass guiding you from feeling stuck, of just like, okay, so I've been, as an example, a lot I hear from my clients is like being in a role for a long time that has been, they've been feeling stuck and they're really not sure what they need to do to get out of it, but they're feeling trapped. And so asking the questions that will prompt them, they might be running away from something or need to move forward to something. So what's the motivation there? So having that questioning can allow you to reflect, and then also then finally find out, are you aligned with your values, your interests, and your skills? So that's the depth of questioning that I'm offering here, so to help you get closer to that meaningful work. And then finally, the R here is rhythm. So I prefer the word rhythm to balance. I am going to use the word balance in talking about this, but what is your rhythm? Is it, again, like, are you on the clock a lot? Are you organized? Are you disorganized? Do you feel all over the place? Do you feel like your rhythm is flowing smooth? And is it slow like the sands of time, as an example, or organic like this piece of greenery here? So if we think of the rhythm of your heartbeat, and then when that is in sync and it's going well, it's healthy. But if anyone has ever noticed or like knows somebody whose heartbeat is out of sync, it can cause them sickness, and that can make them very unwell. And so kind of like what is the heartbeat in your life, in your career, and how do you find that optimal balance between your professional and personal fulfillment? And so that is that sense of sometimes your rhythm is going to be different, but as long as it is constant and strong, you'll be able to still have that sense of life and career well-being, but you can feel when it goes out of sync, and or if your rhythm's off. And so using that again as a key indicator. So taking those aspects, I'm going to walk you through very briefly, the meaningful work framework. And your picture might be different from what I had put that picture. So whatever is meaningful for you in terms of a picture. But as we move here to pace, the question here is, the W is, what is my pace? What is your unique pace here? And this pace, to speak again to how can that pace support you to be motivated and productive, and ultimately to help you find that meaningful work or career. And then the second O in the work framework is operating and questioning with impunity. So being so deeply curious, and I talk about curiosity in one of my earlier masterclasses as well, but it's just like operating. So this is how you're going to be so curious and deeply question everything about yourself. Who or what do you need to be or do or become to have that fulfilled life and that meaningful career that you are wanting? Could be a question. So what are your questions? And so from finding out what questions to ask and helping you to overcome struggles and challenges as a compass, much like what we saw in Viktor Frankl's quote earlier. And then here the R is recognize my personal rhythm. I spoke earlier about when you're out of sync and you're in terms of your rhythm. And so now how do you recognize your places of flow and ease? And when things get a little bit harder, there's a bit of friction and challenge, of just like recognizing what are those rhythms that you can then leverage or let go of or do something about to help you have to be less miserable in your career, as an example, and then to be able to find what is going to be meaningful to you. And then finally, the K is to know your career superpower. And I've given you some tools along the way over these Entrada Masterclasses to help you know that, what gives you energy in terms of your known and recognized talents that you enjoy to find your career superpower. So bringing this all together, the meaningful work framework is: what is my pace? Operating and questioning with impunity, recognizing my personal rhythm, and knowing my career superpower. So to be able to see, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it was just like the work down there is the acronym as we spell that down. And I can't remember there's a proper term for that, but can't remember off the top of my head. And so that's what I would offer for you. Or maybe, again, as I've said before, you have your own questions that could go and you could make your own meaningful work framework. So coming back here to Viktor Frankl's quote, what a person actually needs is not a tensionless state, but rather the striving and struggling for some goal worthy of them. And as we may have recognized, it's not just rainbows and lollipops. It's wonderful when things do go easy, but oftentimes where we find the most meaningful aspects, where we can find a lot of meaning, is when we can it's what we do with challenges and struggles. Challenges and struggles are going to be in your life all the time, but it's what you do in the face of those challenges and struggles that really enables you to discover what is meaningful for you and what can get you through that. And so when we have some meaningful work that we do, there's other sayings like, if you find something that you love, you'll never do a day of work in your life. So it's still working, but it's your attitude and your perspective to it and having this worthy goal. So what is your worthy goal that is going to make life feel fulfilling and meaningful, that you can be moving towards? And I know that making a career change, even a shift in your career, even a small shift, can be very challenging. And hopefully leveraging meaningful work, then using that framework, and then some of what else I've talked about today, and in the PQ&R, the pace, questioning, and rhythm, can be some ingredients for you to help you elevate your career, supercharge your career even, but you don't have to do it alone. I'm offering this support to help you here, or if you would like to join my membership, that I would love to have you. In the meantime, I would also like to offer you the December growth opportunity, if you would like to take this challenge, of just what your relationship to pace, questioning, and rhythm is for your professional endeavors. So in your work, in your career, what is my relationship to pace, questioning, and rhythm in my professional endeavors? And I'm doing this in first person for you to make it about you, because it is about you. And this is the second part of this, is an action step that you can take for yourself towards discovering meaningful work as well. And the question here is, how do I define meaningful work? I very briefly covered it with you earlier, but now I'm just taking it to you to experiment with how you might define meaningful work. Perhaps it might be a topic that you discuss with other people and find out how they would define meaningful work, and that could start some and spark some ideas for you. Or maybe there's something that I have shared with you today that might have catalyzed some sort of thought process for you as well. Just checking, I don't see any questions here. And so not seeing anything in my questions tab, and so we'll keep on moving along here in terms of questions. Hopefully I haven't missed anything here. So now as we are on the time has gone very quickly for me. I'm not sure about for you, but as we start to wind down, I would like to invite you, if there is one insight, maybe there's 2 or 3, but at least one insight that you can take away from this investment of time that you've had today. You might even want to go back to your intention that you set at the beginning of the session in terms of what investment of time that you wanted to take. And I'm just going to be, for a few seconds, just a little bit of silence for you, and just to hopefully jot something down. I know that wasn't a lot of time, but you can also always come back and review and pause on this too, and just jot down to start off with. So in quick review of what we did today, the case study, and this time it wasn't about a client, like it was about me this time, but sharing with you my journey and how I ended up here doing what I feel is very meaningful work and incredibly fulfilling. And then we set an intention, did a really quick review of Career DNA and your career superpower, the framework for meaningful work, and the 3 ingredients of pace, question, and rhythm to your career superpower success, and helping you get unstuck and move towards a meaningful career for this month's masterclass. And then the December growth opportunity, and then takeaways for you by the way of insights. And my hope is that you have heard something today that would help you consider that meaningful work can be part of your career superpower success, and how, whether it is the framework or maybe something else that you heard, or even just that quote, or maybe you found your own meaningful work quote that you really like to have. And I hope that I see you again in January. It will be a later time and later in the month, because I'm going to take a little bit of vacation at the beginning of the month. So it'll be late in the month again, like it was this month. But the topic will be simple steps from stuck to career success. And so the thing there will be about simplicity to help you move forward in that. And I mentioned earlier about how I know it can be very challenging. I couldn't do it on my own. For over 2 decades, I tried on my own to make a significant career shift and wasn't able to. So I've got these puffins here showing that together is better. They're pretty cute, I think. But if you'd like to join my membership, I would love to have you along. The information is on my website, or also in my YouTube channel, and will be if you're on my mailing list, you have the information there too. And a big thank you as we're winding down to the last 10 minutes of our time together here. And also to say thank you and offer you some incentive. If you scan this, it will take you to my website and a feedback form, or you can also just go straight to my website, my feedback form. But I would like to offer you an incentive, if you are not a member, to offer you my meaningful work handout, which is that meaningful work framework that also has resources about meaningful work, including, I haven't got this as a public, so it's private and exclusive right now, shall we say. I did an interview with one of my peers who's written a book about meaning, and he's one of the resources, Luis Marrero, who's an outstanding coach based out of Boston. And Luis and I did an interview together talking about meaningful work. and he was interviewing me. And so offering that to people, even if you're not a member. And for my members, you'll get your a la carte choice. Plus, I will share with you, if you fill out that feedback for me for this month, the Meaningful Work interview with Louise. But I'm not going to just post it on the portal like I normally do. So a little bit of incentive there for you. And then finally, for those of you who don't know me and don't have my contact information, I'm just going to pop it up here for you. And I would love to know how you're going in terms of your career superpower and how you're working your dream, or what your endeavors are towards that as well. And then I'm also just want to share for those of you, just to let you know that I will be doing my, as mentioned, I'll be doing my masterclass live again at the end of January. But I will in February, because I'm going to be taking some time with my family. I won't be doing lives. I'll still be meeting my clients, my regular clients through in my group, doing my groups, but I won't be doing this live. But what I'll actually be doing is having a summary of the information that I've done to date. It'll be almost a year by February, but I'm just going to put it together a summary, and I'm going to post that up into my YouTube channel and send an email out to let people know that that's what you'll get for February. So just giving you a little bit of a heads up for that. And then I've got some new ideas for 2024, and if you would like to send me your ideas so I can make this a more valuable experience for you, I would love to hear about those ideas. So I didn't actually take as much time to go through all of the material as I had anticipated, but I prefer not to be rushed. If there's not any other questions that are coming up, I will say thank you to all of you who are here again live in the room with me. Lovely to see you, and also again live on the social media such as Facebook and YouTube as well. So my name is Rachel Newton, and if you've got any questions about how I can help you discover meaningful work to get you unstuck in your career, and so that you can work your dream and be unapologetically you, this is incredibly meaningful work for me, very fulfilling, and I would love to help and guide and support you if I can be able to facilitate that and do that with you. And thank you again. Wishing you all at this holiday season. If you're listening to this in the future, it is December now, and so a very happy and safe holiday season to everyone, and a very merry new year in 2024, and I hope to see more of you in 2024 as well. So thank you again, everyone, and do take care. It was wonderful to have you here. Bye-bye.